Welcome, everybody, to the next project. This is episode 9 and the finale of our Epiphone 355 Reneck project series Gone Wild. It became a major mod project. We've done a lot of custom work everywhere we could. Not much original anymore, but that's the way we go. Let's take a look at what we did to wrap this one up as we finish the next project. Well, everybody, we are finally starting to put things together. No, we're not. We're not putting things together yet. We are actually going to test the new pickups that are going to be going in the guitar very soon. We've got a Seymour Duncan 59 for the neck position and a 59 Trembucker for the bridge position. Here I'm running the Bode plot, or Bode plot, as someone pointed out to me. Getting some graphical spaghetti charts of what these pickups look like and comparing the two pickups together. And I save this data out for future use and comparison of other pickups. So is it necessary to do when you're building a guitar? No. But if you're interested in seeing what things look like under the hood, maybe you'd want to do something like this in the future, or maybe not, actually. Sometimes I do a lot of things that I look back and go, I really didn't need to do that, but this is kind of interesting. So we can compare the two. The blue line on top is the neck pickup. The green line below is the bridge pickup. So the neck pickup has a few less winds on the coils, which lowers the inductance, which lowers the resistance, changes the Q factor, changes, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Makes the pickup slightly different. Here we're taking a look at all the specs I gathered. Kind of interesting. The owner had sent me new pickup rings for this guitar, which was great. They had an 81 millimeter outside center to center drill hole mounting spacing. This guitar body has an 84 millimeter center to center spacing, so that's 3 millimeter difference, about 1/8 of an inch-ish, roughly. The other thing was the original pickup rings had that arch for an arch top guitar. Unfortunately, this guitar, while it does have an arch, it's fairly flat. So I ordered new rings that are 84 millimeter wide, center to center, and have a flat bottom. So I'm going to now fit these to the top, cut an ever so slight shallow radius on the bottom to match the top. Just when you think you're making progress, we have the 59 Classic Seymour Duncan mounted in the new ring, which fits to the mounting hole spacing of the body. Grabbed the Seymour Duncan Trembucker, grabbed our new ring, which has the 84 millimeter center to center spacing. We've got it contoured to match the body, all great. Went to put the pickup in the ring, and it doesn't fit the hole in the mounting ring. So I measured this dimension, and I measured the dimension of the neck pickup, and they are different. Thank you very much. So now we're going to try to open this up by about, what was it, 50 thousandths? Was it that much? I don't think it was that much. Anyway, I'll measure it again, and we'll try to open it up by, it's 50-ish thousandths. So we need to open that hole up a little bit as we continue. The ever-challenging project. Next project. The owner of this guitar sent me a pre-wired kit. The pots and wiring, everything. All you have to do is hook up the pickups to the wiring. It's a 920D custom pre-wired setup for 335 and some variations. A 355 also fits in there. A really beautiful wiring setup. It's all put together really nice. Just have to hook the pickups up to it. They include a really good little diagram of what wires go where. And it's color-coded for Seymour Duncans, which was very handy. And I'm telling you what, these wires are so small, it's really kind of a pain in the ass to solder all this stuff together. You can't see it very well, so I have my magnifier glasses on, my binoculars I call it, and trying to get in there. And the soldering tip is bigger than the wires, so, you get that in there and it's in the way. You can't see what you're doing. I know you can't see what I'm doing because my hands are in the way. I can't even see what I'm doing. But there was a fair amount of soldering to do yet, and thank goodness we have a control cavity on the back of this guitar to stuff all the wiring through. And even at that, it was still a little crowded getting things in there. Here I'm using a Jack the Gripper tool from StewMac. I don't remember who invented it, but it's pretty handy, and it came in really great for this purpose to install that output jack. Getting all the controls slid into place. You know, they have that little star lock washer that goes underneath. Push the pots through, you flip it over, you put a flat washer on, then spin the nut on there, and oh boy, a lot of little pieces. Everything should be easy, but nothing ever is. Oh, finally, we're going to put the back cover plate on, which is nice. 4 new screws. I did use stainless screws for that. Testing the pickups, make sure all the knobs and bells and whistles work, and everything sounds like clickety click, click, click. That's good. A little more rough work. We're going to dial in the pickups, get them in the neighborhood of where they're going to end up being when it's all done. So I ran a straight edge between the frets and the bridge and running the pickups up or down to get them in a proximity of where I want to start. Realized that the neck pickup had a lot of spring in it. It wanted to rock on the 2 adjustment screws. So first thing I tried was just to put a piece of foam underneath the pickup, which I've done this before, and on some guitars it seems to work. On this guitar, the foam really didn't do anything for us. So I put it in there and I pushed on the pickup. Still rocks around a bit. So the foam is out of there. Moving on to plan B, we're going to adjust the angle of the mounting tab that the 2 adjustment screws go through so we can kind of give the pickup a cant within the ring. So it doesn't hurt the pickup, it doesn't hurt anything, but it just puts a little bit of angle on that mounting tab that's on the pickup itself. Again, a little check work here. Yep, that's close. The owner tracked down an original pickguard for this, an Epiphone inspired by Gibson, 355. So he got that tracked down and sent off to me, and now we're marking it. And I was kind of surprised that the original mounting holes didn't quite line up with this pickguard that is meant for this guitar. But, you know, that's life. Fortunately, I had plugged the holes, and now we're re-drilling new holes where they need to be for the new pickguard, which is supposed to be original to this guitar. Say what? Yeah, nothing is easy. Have I mentioned that yet today? Yeah, nothing's easy. So, have our holes drilled. Now we're going to clean up a little bit underneath where the pickguard is going to go, because once that's mounted on there, it's not going to be too easy to get back under there. So it's going to fit pretty good. A little beeswax on the screw and threading that into the newly drilled hole. And you know what? We're going to be about done with this step, which is nice. It's getting close, though. It's starting to look like a guitar. We might actually be able to play it soon. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Ah, nuts. It's that part of the project. We're getting there. We have got the controls in the 920D custom wiring harness in place. I am really glad that I had suggested and we went ahead and put in the rear access cover, because if you've ever had to try and fish a bunch of electronics through F-holes, it's no fun. So I'm glad we did that. What else? We're going to string it up once again and start making a new nut for this. I do have a temporary nut that works perfectly, but it's a plastic of some sort. But it is a great starting point, so I have a reference template, basically, to use to make a new nut. So let's get after that as we continue the next project. So there is a lot of work in getting a nut set up, and here I'm adjusting the string slot depth, and there is a number of ways to go about doing that, and I'm always experimenting, trying to find out what works best for me, and maybe in a certain situation, one way will work better than another. I am using a Fret Guru tool, which sits within the fret slot and bridges to the second fret. And then you slide a feeler gauge underneath it at the first fret to see what your distance is. So you want like between 2 and 3 thousandths of an inch. I don't know what the metric equivalent of that is right offhand, but it's one way to do it. Another way to do it, which I revert to a little bit later, actually about now, is just using a feeler gauge on the first fret. And I've already got the action set up pretty much where I want it. So I'm using a feeler gauge. I think I went 16th on the E and A, 14th on the D and G, and 12 thousandths on the B and E, the high E. We're getting the nut finished, shape work and polishing done here. Some repeated testing to make sure it fits. A couple drops of super glue on the bottom of it. And put it in place and use the strings to make sure it's aligned where I want. Gentle tap before the super glue kicks off. And let the strings hold it in place as a clamp. A little bit of final cleanup before we put the final set of strings on it. Yes, this has gone through a couple sets of strings now because I've put them on and taken them off a bunch of times. And before it goes out the door, it gets a new set of strings. They'll get stretched, the intonation will get set. All that fun stuff. The truss rod cover is on, but it did come off a little bit later as I did a very slight adjustment to the neck, make sure the relief is where I wanted it. It ended up being in the 3 thousandths of an inch range, which is just not quite flat. Otherwise, it's looking good. And one more coat of Howard's Feed and Wax just to help rehydrate, replenish, feed and wax the board, make it look nice and fresh. Howard's does also have an axe wax, which might be the same stuff. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But anyway, new strings going on finally and stretching things up, getting them wound on. We stretch them between the nut and the tuners, between the nut and the saddles, between the saddle and the vibrola. Everything gets stretched and restretched and stretched yet again. Boy, what else? Yes, there was intonation happening. I don't know that we got that on... Oh, we're cleaning now, so I don't think I'm going to be showing the intonation, which did get done. It just didn't get done on camera, I guess. Oh, more fingerprints. Get the fingerprints off there.